Hello, my name is Wendy and I am the owner and designer of Rewondered. This is a presentation about creating the perfect studio space for myself and my business. Throughout this presentation, I will be referencing the 3 books that I am reading for my creativity class, and as I have no hope of pronouncing the names of the authors, I will be referring to them as Author C, Author M, and Author V. More information about these books is available at the end of the presentation. Before I get started on designing the perfect studio space, I'm going to address 3 questions about why it is so important for me to do so. I started Rewondered because I wanted a business where I could be creative on a daily basis. I am happiest when I am making things and bringing new ideas to life. As much as I hope to gain financially and have a successful business, the real reason I do what I do is because, as an artist, I need to. My items help me and my customers to express ourselves and to become who we want to be. They also help to save the world in some tiny way, as I often incorporate supplies that were unwanted, whether they were donated, the last item on a clearance rack, part of the junk lot from eBay, or purchased at a yard sale or thrift shop, and may have otherwise ended up in a landfill. In this way, I feel a little bit like a superhero every time I create a new product. Therefore, creating to me is important personally, financially, and globally. When I am creating, I definitely experience the flow that Author C talks about. 1. There are clear goals every step of the way. I know exactly what I need to do next, what beads I want to incorporate, what fabric I want to use, what stitches I need to make. 2. There is immediate feedback to one's actions. I can see as I'm working the item is coming together as I envisioned it. 3. There's a balance between challenges and skills. There's enough challenge and use of my skills to keep me interested without getting frustrated or bored. 4. Action and awareness are merged. I am completely focused on what I am making. 5. Distractions are excluded from consciousness. Again, I am completely focused on what I am making and not thinking about other things. 6. There's no worry of failure. I do not even think about whether this item will not work out the way I want it to. 7. Self-consciousness disappears. I do not worry about what other people might think about me or if they'll even like what I am making. 8. The sense of time becomes distorted. I generally lose all track of time when I'm creating and often forget to eat, because I do not realize how long it has been since my last meal. And 9. The activity becomes autotelic. That means that it is something that is an end in itself. I create because I enjoy creating, and if someone pays me for my work, that's a bonus. Unfortunately, flow is often interrupted by distractions. Worse, the distractions don't even allow me to start creating. Noise and other people are generally easier to keep out of my studio just by shutting the door. My health has been a major distraction for me this year, and now that I have insurance, I am working with my doctors to remedy that. I am lucky that I don't really have family problems, and my husband is very supportive of me and my business. My financial problems can actually be solved by creating more items, and thus selling more items, and are really only a distraction when I want to buy more supplies. Responsibilities, on the other hand, are a major distraction. My biggest responsibility is to my college classes, and the work has really been bogging me down. I try to remedy this by relating as much of my schoolwork to my business as possible, like this presentation here. Worry is another major distraction, as I have an anxiety disorder, and it is very difficult once the anxiety takes hold to make it go away. Reality is an intruder I try to bar the door against as often as possible. But the biggest inhibitor to my creativity right now is my lack of organization. Since I've been sick for about a total of 3 months within the last 5, I've been allowing things to pile up until I have the time and energy to put them away. I will not show you a picture of my studio, as I do not wish to be reported to hoarders. Suffice it to say, I am having difficulty finding things and having the space I need to work on anything. I have been in putting out fires mode for way too long, dealing with whatever has the most important deadline at the time. It has gotten to the point where I do not even know where to start to get myself organized again. Author C has many things to say about creating the perfect space for creativity, and this is the problem that I'm working on now. I need to create a space that is tailor-made for me and the needs of my business, where I feel comfortable and in control, and in harmony with a small segment of the universe where I happen to be located. I need it to reflect my needs and tastes, and have the room to completely immerse myself in my work. In short, I need an organized space that will limit my distractions. But therein lies the paradox. Being creative is a messy prospect, and too much order will dull my creative impulses. But author V says that paradoxes are a wonderful creative discovery tool that whack us out of our narrow thought paths and force us to question our assumptions. So how do I do this? I am going to use author M's techniques of looking into other worlds to generate ideas on how I can get my studio organized to perfection. Pulling from the world of essences, I have determined that the major principles of my problem are organization and limiting distractions. I then decided to look for a parallel world that embodies these principles in order to gain ideas on how I might go about creating this perfect studio. So what parallel world embodies organization and limiting distractions? Well, the library. In the library, books are arranged by subject and author. Each book has its place, and they are not crammed onto the shelves indiscriminately. Some libraries are specialized by a particular subject or theme. There are stations for specific activities, such as using the computer, which usually has a time limit. There are cozy places to curl up and read, and tables to spread your work out on. Materials can be checked out for a short period of time, but always need to be returned, and some items cannot leave the library at all. There's a searchable database to help you find what you need, and if you're having trouble, there's a reference librarian that will help you out. They use technology to store information and save space. Some libraries have archives for items that are not referenced as often. Most are well lit, so you can see the words on the page properly. Many have beautiful works of art displayed alongside the books. They network with other libraries to provide even more information to their patrons. They are quiet and serene places where talking and loud noises are greatly frowned upon. Now let's connect these ideas to my perfect studio that is organized and limits distractions. Everything can be arranged by subject. All of my fabric and sewing supplies can be in one area, and all of my beads and jewelry findings can be in another. Everything will have its place, and nothing will be crammed into this space, which makes it difficult to see what I have and get it out in order to be used. I can specialize my studio by a particular subject by making it exclusive for creating and moving anything not related to creating out to another room. I can set up stations for specific activities like sewing or jewelry making. I can put a time limit on my computer use, which would certainly help with the distractions. I can get a comfy chair where I'm able to read, and a table that I can spread my projects out on. I can put my supplies and tools in containers that I have to check out and return to their spot within a reasonable time limit. I can designate some items, like particular pairs of scissors, that will never leave my studio, so that I am able to find them when I need them. I can create a searchable database of all my patterns so that I am able to find the one that I need to create a particular product more easily. I can also create a database for my finished inventory and where it is stored to make it easier to pull orders for shipping. I can take pictures of my beads and store them on the computer so that I can look through them without having to pull out all the boxes that they're in. I can create an archive of items that I don't use very often, moving them into another room so they are not taking up space in the studio. I can clear out some of the things blocking the light coming through the windows and use more lamps to get better lighting, so I can see my work more clearly. I can add inspirational art to my walls to help motivate me. I can network with other crafters who have tools that I don't use very often, so that I don't need to keep them in my studio. This will also allow me to get out of the studio every once in a while and see things from a different perspective. Finally, I can close my door, which will not only block out sounds, but also signal my husband and my housemates that I am working and should not be disturbed. Wow, that's a ton of great ideas, and I can't wait to put them in place. Unfortunately, now we run into the next problem, finding the time and money to make it happen. But we'll have to save that for another day, as I have another deadline approaching. Can someone please hand me a fire extinguisher?